שלום וברוכים הבאים לעוד תוכנית של פרספקטיבה, ועכשיו אני אעבור לאנגלית. Okay, welcome to another perspective here on the new Israeli channel here in Toronto. And today we have a very special guest. She's actually running for office as the new MP for Thornhill, and she's here with us today, Meliza Lantsman. Shalom, Meliza.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Wonderful to have you. Meliza, before we start, if you don't mind, I have a really quick question. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Meliza, you have a great career in a PR firm. You're doing great. Why do you need politics?
It's not that I need politics. I think is politics needs something different, and I'm ready to serve in Thornhill.
Okay, all the best of luck, first of all, and in the next half an hour we're going to find out who you are, what your goals are in politics. So you viewers, bring a cup of coffee, stay with us for the next half an hour. Here we go. Okay, so here we're back with Meliza Lantsman. Meliza, first of all, not all my viewers know you. Can you tell me a little bit about your background before we dig into politics?
Absolutely. I was born and raised in Thornhill. My parents went from Russia to Israel to a stop somewhere in Europe, and then they came home here to make Thornhill home. I'm the first one in my family born here. I'm the child of an iconic pizza guy from My Zadie was actually My Zadie's Pizza. They worked hard, so I can go to school here, work in a boardroom here, and have the life that we all want in Canada.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing currently?
For sure. So I'm in the, like you said, I'm in the PR business. I just recently left my firm to pursue this other goal. I'd spent a lot of time working in Stephen Harper's government when Canada was in a better place, when Canada had better relationships with our friends in the world. And I do a lot of charity work. I do a lot of TV. I've got a radio show. I've got a very diverse resume, and I'm excited to talk to you for the next half an hour about what it's about.
The idea going into politics, was this your idea, or was someone tried to convince you? I mean, how did it all evolve?
So, you know what, like every kid in Thornhill, I tried some version of either business or law. I wasn't smart enough to be a doctor, so that was never an avenue for me. And I got into politics really young. I started working on campaigns when I was a teenager, and I really loved the energy. I really believed in the people that I worked for. I got the opportunity to work with Prime Minister Harper, his foreign minister, his finance minister, 10 years in government, where I think this country was better governed, more accountable, more transparent, and just was more respected around the world. And so I've come back to it. 6 years of watching the country go in the wrong direction. I'm ready to put my name on a ballot and make the best decisions in the interest of our community.
Wow. You know, there's a saying in Hebrew, I'm not sure what's the right version for it in English, but there's a saying in Hebrew that in order to go into politics, you need to have a very thick skin. Okay, I don't know if it also in English, but a very thick skin. You have to be very strong and not vulnerable, not to take into heart. Now, I have to say, you don't look like that kind of person. You look like a genuine person. How are you going to deal with everything that comes with politics?
You know what? I look different and I sound different, and I think that politics needs something different. And I've been a conservative my entire life, and I'm not afraid to speak about conservative values. And I think more and more people will jump on board with our vision. And on the personal side, I think there's a lot of people who agree with the vision that we're putting forward in Canada, particularly in this election. And there's a lot of people that always disagree. And I think the job that I have to do is earn the trust of those that disagree with me, find a way forward, and maybe don't read the internet so much.
Okay, now please tell me a little bit about what your goals are within politics. What are you trying to change? What are you trying to do in benefit of the Jewish community, but not only the Jewish community, also other Canadians? What are your, let's say, top 3 priorities?
In terms of the Jewish community, it's really simple. I think that politics needs somebody who is proud to call themselves a Zionist, proud to stand up for the state of Israel. It sees anti-Semitism for the scourge that it is, particularly the rising sentiment in anti-Semitism, the attacks. I think you need somebody who is unafraid to call it out. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. In terms of priorities, look, this country has stopped building infrastructure. We're spending more money than we have. In fact, we're printing it on things that we don't need, and we've got to get our economy back on track. We've got to open our businesses. We've got to get past COVID, and there's lots of other things. For Thornhill specifically, we've got to get infrastructure built. We've got a subway that was promised when I was a teenager that I might take to my retirement party. We've got an immigration system that is broken. I think I can sit here and tell you all day long with the problems that I see with this country, and I'm ready to serve in whatever capacity I'm asked to in order to make a little dent in fixing them.
What about, I mean, this is an obvious question, but I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about this. What about the relationship between Canada and Israel? I mean, is there anything, first of all, do you think it needs to be changed, evolved in any way? And what do you think your inputs will be? And also O'Toole's and the Conservative Party as well.
Yeah, look, I was proud to be a policy advisor with the Minister of Foreign Affairs back in the Harper government. I was proud to advise the Prime Minister. I was proud to be part of some of the lines that I hear read back to me from our community. I was proud to be the author of some of those, and I think that we need to return to a place where Canada is allies with other democracies in the world. That we are not standing up with the despots in the dictators in the UN against our values, against our shared values with
Did I hear you say dictators in the UN? Please emphasize what you mean.
Absolutely. I think when you have organizations in the UN that are led by the Saudis or by Venezuela, if Canada is aligned with those regimes and not standing by our friends, I think we're on the wrong side of history. I think we need people in politics that are willing to call anti-Semitism for what it is, that are willing to say that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. I haven't heard anybody in the government here say that, and the rising instances of anti-Semitism in our schools, in our streets, to our community are frightening. I hear it all the time, and I hear nobody in the government standing strong against it.
What about immigration? I mean, I know there's been I mean, on one hand, immigration is one of Canada's strongest sides. You know, it's letting in immigrants. I'm an immigrant. Your parents are immigrants. You know, most of the Canadian population are immigrants or children of immigrants. But I'm not sure that the screening process was always you know, at its best. Do you think it needs to be reformed? And if so, in what way?
I think immigration is one of the ways that the Canada is the country that it is, and one of the ways that the country is going to be even better. This place has so much to offer. It has given me so much. It has given you so much. It has given everybody that we know so much. But the system can get better, and we've got to
can get better or cannot get better.
Absolutely, it can get better.
In what way?
It needs to get better. One, I think that we've got to look at economic immigration. We've got to look at where our labor market needs workers and the type of people that we're bringing in. I think that Canada has always been a safe haven for refugees, and I think our system with private sponsorship of refugees is far better than I think the outcomes of public sponsorship in government. I think there are a lot of regimes in the world where there are people protesting, like in Hong Kong, like in Venezuela, that are welcoming Canada, that will work to become Canadians, to be part of the fabric of our society. And I think that there are a lot of oppressed, Christians in some of those countries that you talk about. That Canada can outstretch its arm and reach out and save some of these populations from the oppressive regimes that they could be coming from.
Yeah. Now, I mean, right now you're running for office as the MP for Thornhill, which is, it's one of the most Jewish neighborhoods or communities around the GTA. In terms of Thornhill, if you get elected, can you say what are, let's say, the 2 or 3 first things you're planning on doing?
Well, I think first and foremost, from a Jewish community perspective, and we are the largest Jewish community. We're also the largest Orthodox Jewish community, and I think that there are a lot of issues. There is certainly, the rising anti-Semitism. It's security funding for our institutions and our schools. It's standing up against on the world stage with our friends Israel against terrorism, against the regime in Iran that's a destabilizing force to the world that breeds terrorism. Those are the issues that I think are important to the Jewish community, but there is so much more. There's the price of housing. There's building critical infrastructure, our subways, our roads. There is certainly, immigration, which we just talked about, and there is an affordability crisis in Thornhill and across the GTA. Kids can't afford to live where they grew up, and the price of gas and groceries and everyday goods is going up, and we can't keep spending at the rate that we are. We saw this week that inflation is now at 4.1%. That's more than 2% higher than the Bank of Canada has said, and we can't sustain this. So we've got to have somebody who is willing to speak against frivolous government spending and get Canadians back to work, and that's exactly what I'm going to do as the MP from Thornhill for the interests of Thornhill, and that's exactly what I'm going to do on the national stage.
Is there a way for an MP of a local neighborhood like Thornhill to influence on the national level?
Look, we're coming up on an election, and I hope that Canadians see what we've been seeing, at least what I've been seeing at the doors, to finally get rid of Justin Trudeau and his government, and give the Conservatives the national majority that we need to fix this country. There's a lot of different things that can happen on Monday night, but what I will promise is I will be open and transparent and available to those in Thornhill, and I will be a strong voice nationally for the things that we need here in the GTA. And as Canadians, both young and old, I'm not going to be quiet. I've never been quiet. I'm not very good at being quiet. So
what are your views regarding Canada's relationship with the US in general, but also Canada's relationship not only in the past, but also where it has to go with the former president, Donald Trump, that, as you know, Israel and a lot of Jewish people are great supporters of Donald Trump. How do you see his administration and the relationship between Canada and the US? That's interesting to hear.
I think the Canada-U.S. relationship is, by and large, the most important one that we have. And on the first day of the tenure of President Biden, they canceled a pipeline and they really stuck it to Canadians, where they advocated for their own interest at the expense of ours. And I think that you need strong leadership in this country to stand up for what we need from the U.S. We've got a trade relationship that is a little bit uneven, but we've got a lot of things that they need and they want. We've got a lot of labor that crosses the border every day. We've got a border shutdown that has really hampered some of our cities like Niagara Falls and Windsor. We've got to open that border. We've got to increase our trade relationships, and we've got to fight for for our pipelines, for our oil and gas, for our industries. And we can do that with the president, or we can do that with individual governors. I don't think the current government has exhausted all of the options on making the Canada-U.S. relationship what it once was.
The current government in Canada, or the current administration in the U.S.?
The current government in Canada, I think, has bent over to the U.S., and we're not standing up for what we need as Canadians and what we deserve as Canadians, and that's a problem. I think you need stronger leadership in the chair here in Canada to truly get what Canadians need from our U.S. relationship.
And your views about Donald Trump?
My views about Donald Trump. Look, he was the past president. I think that under that, Donald Trump was an America first, and I think Canadians suffered because of it. We suffered on our trade relationships. I don't think that this relationship, because it's not Donald Trump, is going to be any easier. In fact, I think it's going to be harder with President Biden, and I think that there needs to be somebody strong to stand up for Canadian values, Canadian workers, and Canadian trade, Canadian Canadian products, and making sure that, that we're selling to them and they're selling to us with no tariffs and free of any impediments.
What are your views regarding social issues? Not only state issues and economies, but also social issues. For example, welfare, going back to work, making Canadians, stronger on their personal level and their economic level, LGBT community rights.
Well, we'll start with getting Canadians back to work. It's the most important, it's the most important issue that we're facing. We've got now a government that's spending money, deficit spending on potential social programs. What we should be doing is we should be building infrastructure, bridges, roads, putting people back to work. We lost 1 million jobs during COVID, and we need to bring those back. We need to start making smart investments in stimulus in the economy. And look, I think on some of the on some of the litmus test issues that you're asking me about, I'm proud to stand with Aaron O'Toole. I think he sees all Canadians, no matter what color you are, who you're married to, whether you pray on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Everybody is welcome in the Conservative Party. Everybody is welcome in this country, and I think equality for all is what we strive for. Where hopefully we don't see those differences anymore, and we get our economy back on track. We get people working, and we bring our communities together. I've got to tell you, we've seen what COVID has done. COVID has starved our civil society institutions. What I mean by that, people stop giving money to shul or to church or to charities, and when those institutions get weaker, government gets bigger, and it's very hard to take that government out of the things that we used to do. The runs and the galas, those need to come back, because I think that people and civil society does things better for those organizations than government ever will. And I'm looking forward at a time where we don't have to talk about COVID. We don't have to do this on Zoom. We don't have to wear masks, and we can all come together as communities again and start thinking about the things that hold us together rather than those things that are ripping us apart.
Yes, definitely. Melissa, this is obviously your first stop into politics, and I wish you all the best. I truly do, and I wish you luck, not only you, but to all of us, Jews living in Canada. But I want to ask you, is this your first stop, or do you have plans going forward after that?
Well, I have no plans after Monday night, so we'll see what Tuesday morning looks like for me. But what I do know is that I do want to serve Thornhill. I do want to serve Canadians. I don't know what that looks like. I hope that we are successful both here in Thornhill and nationally as a government, because there is a lot at stake in this election. So I'm gonna do a plug now. If you haven't voted, if you haven't even thought about voting, I want you to go out there. If you're voting for me, I want you to run out there. And if you're not voting for me, then walk slowly. But do go out and vote. And we have a better future that's in line for Canadians. We have the potential in this country to do a lot more than we're doing. We've got smart people. We grow enough food to feed the world. We've got enough natural resources to power us for a generation. And I think the government that we're seeing in Ottawa is squandering all of that with slogans and unicorns and hugs, and we're not living up to our potential as Canadians. So think about this. Think about putting your trust in a Conservative Party. As the Jewish community, think about putting your trust in a party that will actually stand up for our values.
Melissa, two final questions, if I may. First, what are your relations with Israel? How often do you go there? Do you have family there? I mean, how do you see the current administration in Israel? Tell me a little bit your views about Israel.
As a young Zionist growing up in Toronto with some parents that stopped in Israel along the way, I see myself sometimes as a displaced Jew in the diaspora, and the relationship with Israel is strong. It is the homeland of the Jewish people. I see it as that. I visit there rather often, less often in the midst of a global pandemic, but certainly it's going to be one of the first trips when possible. And yeah, my family lives there. We've got many family members that have either returned to Israel or have always called Israel home. And it's never a short trip, and it's never a trip without going from house to house and eating lots of dinners and seeing lots of families with grown-up kids now.
Yeah. By the way, do you speak Hebrew?
I speak Hebrew very, very poorly. I speak Russian very, very poorly. I speak French very well. And, well, my English is okay, I guess.
Now, last question. If you do get elected, and I said I wish you all the best and luck and everything, but if you do, will that mean you have to quit your job and everything that you do for your own business? What does that mean?
Yeah, it does mean that. I mean, I think life will hopefully look very different on Tuesday morning as a member of Parliament. That's more than a full-time job. I'll never sort of quit my old life. I'll always maintain some kind of connection to my work, but I think that it's done me a great service. I think that it's trained me really well. It's helped me make the connections necessary to understand how government works, how it doesn't work. And luckily, I've spent a little bit of time in Ottawa, so I already know where the bathrooms are. So the rest is going to be, the training wheels are going to come off really quickly.
Yeah. Well, Melissa, on a personal level, I wish you all the best, and for all of us, the Jewish people living in Canada, I think you're definitely a voice that needs to be heard. We need people like you, genuine people in the government. I think it will do good for the Jewish community. It's a fresh voice for Canada, and I'm happy that you found time to come and talk to the Israeli community here on our channel on Perspectives. You're always welcome. And all the best and good luck, be'atzlacha and mazel tov.
Thank you. I'm going to be the kind of politician that comes during an election, but I'm also going to be the kind of politician that comes after an election. So I look forward to being here very soon after Monday night.
Thank you so much, Melissa, and Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.